Hello, candle lovers. Thanks for tuning in to me today. My name is Greg, and this is all Aboot candles. Happy Saturday, everyone. Every Saturday, I like to do a candle haul for you on the channel if I have some candles to share. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been acquiring some Yankee stuff. I'll tell you right up front that I do not have any of the new, spring or summer Yankee candles here. These are all candles that I purchased when I was in the States at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, or off of Amazon Canada. I'm not that interested in trying the new Yankee stuff, to be honest with you. I'm hearing pretty positive reports about most of those candles. They definitely look really great. The fragrances sound like they've been fairly well received. Performance is always a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to Yankee Candle. What I'm hearing for the most part is that if you want to get good strength and throw out of the new Yankee candles, you have to be going for the 3-wick, 14-ounce format, which I'm just not interested in buying that format from Yankee because I get so many 3-wick candles from Bath & Body Works and Goose Creek. One of the things I've always loved about Yankee are their larger formats and their colored wax. And so this haul is a sort of selection of spring and summer candles, and they are all candles that I've burned before, that I know I already like, and that I know have reasonable amounts of strength and throw. And so if you're looking for information on the new Yankee stuff, I'm afraid this isn't the video for you. But if you are looking for some information on classic Yankee fragrances that have been around for a while that I can vouch for, then maybe you'll find something in this video that interests you. Let's just get right into it. I picked up a Sakura Blossom Festival, and this is the large 20-ounce 2-wick pillar format. I've got to say that I'm not as annoyed by the clip art situation on this wraparound as I am by some of the other Yankee candles in this format, and I'm gonna get all of the scent stories and the scent notes off of the website. For me, part of the fun of Yankee candles are the ridiculous scent stories and fragrance notes that they have for their candles up on the website. So the scent story for Sakura Blossom Festival says, "This is a floral fragrance. Blooming cherry trees herald the arrival of spring's magic. Bright fruity aromas of red berries and grapefruit settle into a delicate floral heart of pink rose, freesia, and cherry blossom notes, warmed at the base by creamy gourmands." And I do have to say, I don't do a lot of cherry blossom fragrances, but the one from Yankee has been one of my favorites. It reminds me a little bit of Japanese cherry blossom from Bath & Body Works. However, Japanese cherry blossom from Bath & Body Works is a lot. It's got a very mature woman perfume, musky vibe to it. And I think that this candle, in comparison to Japanese cherry blossom, it's also quite musky and floral, but that sort of old lady perfumey vibe is toned down quite a bit. And as musky and as floral as this candle is, it's also got sort of a bright, fresh lightness to it that I really appreciate. And it's always been a fairly good performer for me in the past, getting up to about a 6.5 for strength and throw in a more open area. And I've got to say that this one smells pretty strong too. Yeah, really, it's really musky and really floral, but there's also sort of a smooth, creamy lightness to it that I really enjoy. The scent notes on this one are top notes of red berries, apple, and grapefruit, middle notes of rose, freesia, and cherry blossom, and base notes of sandalwood, vanilla, and almond milk. And you definitely do pick up a little bit on sort of a berry and apple fragrance in the top. I'm not picking up on the grapefruit. Grapefruit is listed in the top notes as well as the scent story, and I'm not getting that, which I'm thankful for because I tend to usually run and hide from grapefruit fragrances. But the majority of this candle is a really lovely floral cherry blossom note with quite a bit of musk, and there is a bit of a smooth sweetness in the base of this that is a little bit woodsy and a little bit vanilla-ish. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. I'm excited to actually start burning this up. I think this might be one of the first ones that I burn because the season is definitely coming to an end for the Japanese cherry blossom vibe. I was in Vancouver a couple weeks ago, and actually, if you're watching this video on Saturday, I've pre-recorded this, and I'm in Vancouver right now, and all of the cherry blossom trees there are in like full bloom and just look absolutely gorgeous. And it's a very, very small time frame that they're in bloom for, and when you walk by them, you just get enveloped in the scent of the flowers. And what I like about this candle is that you really do get that sort of authentic cherry blossom scent. Obviously, like it's definitely perfumerized, a fair bit perfumerized. Is that a word? There's a fair bit of musk in here, so it's not the exact same fragrance that you're getting from smelling like real fresh cherry blossoms, but it is a nicely done, well-balanced floral cherry blossom vibe. It's probably the third or fourth time that I've purchased this candle throughout my life, and I've always enjoyed it. So yeah, Sakura Blossom Festival from Yankee. And like I said, not the worst job with the random sort of clip art on this one. However, I'm not going to say the same for Fresh Cut Roses. The clip art on this one is a little bit more sort of phoned in and redundant looking, but it's not terrible. Fresh Cut Roses has been around for a really, really long time. I think some people probably consider it fairly like old fashioned and like old news at this point, but I've always enjoyed this candle a fair bit. This is also the 20-ounce 2-wick tumbler with just gorgeous colored wax on this candle. I really think that that is Yankee's like strong suit when it comes to their candles. Just let the beautifully colored wax sort of shine through. You know, I could do away with the clip art all over the jars. Just give me a nice text box that sort of pops on the front of it. But anyways, I could go on about that kind of thing forever. The scent story for Fresh Cut Roses says, this is a floral fragrance. The fresh, dewy, and intoxicating scent of a lush bouquet of roses, rounded with apple peel in the top notes and soft powder at the base. This scent invites you to treat yourself to a dozen long-stemmed beauties. And the scent notes on top, we have fruity apple peel, green leaf, and citrus. The middle notes are red rose and geranium, and the base notes are soft powder and musk. Ooh, and this is a strong one, guys. This is a really, really strong, fairly straightforward, classic, like rose fragrance. What I like about this one is there is sort of a fresh, watery, like dewiness to this fragrance. I think it's really aptly named Fresh Cut Roses. This really does smell like a fresh bouquet of roses in a big, watery vase. And there's a little bit of greenery in there too, which I really appreciate, like those fresh cut stems of a rose. It's really, really nice. I wouldn't say that this candle's for everybody, but then again, like straightforward rose fragrances aren't for everybody. I do pick up as well, like a little bit of a soft white floral in here to kind of balance out the rose. What do they say? They say geranium. The green leaf is definitely in there. I've got to say I don't pick up on that fruity apple peel, which once again, I'm okay with because apple is not usually one of my favorite like scent notes. And then there is a nice sort of, you know, they say soft powder and musk in the base, and there is a little bit of muskiness, but a soft powder to me would often sometimes indicate that there's sort of a bit of a dryness to this, or like a potpourri sort of vibe, and I don't get this at all. This to me really smells like a really fresh, ripe, dewy rose fragrance. It's not particularly that well balanced. It's very like mid-range, very straightforward rose, but I think it's executed fairly well. And I enjoy fresh cut roses. I haven't burned this candle for years, and so I am excited to give it a go. When I've burned this in the past, the one that I bought probably like 3 or 4 years ago, long before I started this channel, I'd say that this candle was getting up to about the same, about a 6.5 for strength and throw in a more open area. So I'll be interested to see how that one does. And I also picked up a Lilac Blossoms. Once again, this is a 20-ounce 2-wick tumbler. Absolutely gorgeous wax on there. Absolutely annoying clip art on the wraparound. The scent story for Lilac Blossoms just says, "This is a floral fragrance." Yeah, duh. An alluring grove of lavender, white, and deep purple lilacs. And the top notes are dewy greens, water lily, and bergamot. The middle notes are lilac petals, hyacinth, and tulip bulbs. And the base notes are cedar leaf, vetiver, and moss. And the obvious thing to compare this to would be something like Fresh Cut Lilacs from Bath & Body Works. I think that this is actually very different from Fresh Cut Lilacs from Bath & Body Works. I think that Lilac Blossoms is much more of like a fresh sort of floral vibe. Fresh Cut Lilacs is very, very strong, very one note, very straightforward. I think that Lilac Blossoms from Yankee is a little bit more nuanced, a little bit fresher, a bit more interesting, and there's definitely more of like a green, like a lush green and sort of watery component to this candle. I really like this one. There is a sweetness in there that isn't listed, and it could be that water lily. Water lily is a fairly sweet white floral, but I've always thought there's something a little bit fruity in here as well. Like, I would actually say I get a bit more of an apple vibe from this candle than I do from the Fresh Cut Roses candle. Sort of like a watery, like lush kind of vibe. And there's a lot of greenery in there. A really, really nicely done floral lilac note. The bergamot could be what I'm picking up on, but it's not so much like a zesty fruit note as it is sort of like a fleshy, like watery fruit note, if that makes any sense, like an apple or a pear or something like that. And then in the base, we get cedar leaf, vetiver, and moss. And I've got to say, I'm not really picking up on any of that in the base of this candle. That would sort of signify that there's something a little bit funky and woodsy in the base notes here, and I'm not getting any of that. It's really nicely balanced, though. It sort of sits in like a medium to high range. Yeah, really, really lovely. And I'd have to say, I've burned this before, probably 2 years ago was the last time I picked up a Lilac Blossoms from Yankee. And it was a similar format. It was like their larger 2-wick format, but in those like signature jars with the glass lid, kind of like this. And from what I remember, this did pretty well for strength and throw, like probably a 7 in a more open concept. So I'll be interested to see what this more recent iteration performs like. Okay, also something for summertime here. Picked up a Coconut Beach. Gosh, this one, the clip art placement on this one is particularly bad. But it's still a fairly lovely 20-ounce 2-wick pillar candle. I'm excited to really start diving into some like coconut summery fragrances here soon. Anyways, the scent notes for Coconut Beach. This is a fruity fragrance. A refreshing tropical experience. This coconut forward fragrance will have you dreaming of ice cold drinks on a warm sunny beach, complete with the picturesque getaway and notes of pineapple, Tahitian vanilla, and blossoms. Top notes, salty air and pineapple. Middle notes, fresh coconut, blossom. Base notes, airy musk and Tahitian vanilla. And there is There is definitely a bright, juicy pineapple note in the top of this fragrance. The majority of like the heart, like the middle notes in this is a nice, really creamy coconut. And there is quite a strong vanilla happening on the base. And as far as the rest of the fragrance notes go here, I don't really pick up on them. This is pineapple, coconut, and vanilla, but really nicely balanced, really well done. This one I ordered off of Amazon, and I've got to say, smelling it on cold, it smells a little bit weaker than I remember it being. Last time I purchased this candle was probably like 1 to 2 years ago. And like I said, the last time I purchased it also was in one of the older school sort of signature jars with the glass lid. On cold, this one smells a little bit weaker, but it still smells adequate. This wasn't the strongest candle in the world to begin with. I'd say that the last one that I burned got up to like a 6 for strength and throw. If I can get this one up to about a 5 or a 6 for strength and throw in like a medium space, like a bedroom, I'll be happy with that. It's a really nicely balanced coconut fragrance, and the pineapple note on top of it is really like fresh and bright and juicy, but it doesn't smell synthetic. Not too long ago, I reviewed the coconut pina colada candle from Bath and Body Works, and the pineapple note in that kind of tainted the candle a little bit for me, whereas I'd say that the pineapple note in this is actually very complementary and helps balance the fragrance out nicely. Yeah, I'm excited to start burning that one. Summer, let's go. Okay, I also picked up a white gardenia from Yankee candle. Not gonna lie to you guys, the main reason why I picked this candle up was because I saw it on sale on Amazon Canada for like $12 or $13. This is a 22 ounce single wick. And this format from Yankee hasn't been giving us very good strength and throw for a long time now, but white gardenia is one of their stronger floral fragrances, so I'm hoping that I might get something out of this one. And another reason why I like this fragrance so much is because it triggers something from my childhood. Like, it's not, my mother didn't burn this candle. I think, I've talked a little bit before about how my love of candles kind of started from going over to my friend's house, and my friend's mother would always have like a big 22 ounce like apothecary jar Yankee candle burning somewhere in the kitchen, and I was really obsessed with both the mother and her candles. She was a real diva, one of those cool moms, you know what I mean? I think that this might have been one of the candles that she'd always have burning in like the spring and summertime, because when I smell it, it really takes me back to like my childhood. And so I'm a little bit biased on this fragrance. I think it's lovely. It's nothing like white gardenia from Bath and Body Works. This is much more softer, a little bit more supple. It's really, really nice, actually. Doesn't smell incredibly strong, but, we shall see. The scent story, this is a floral fragrance. So captivating! Exclamation point. The stunning royal beauty of lush white gardenias in full bloom. And the top notes say peach, berry, and clove. The middle notes are gardenia, jasmine, lily, and freesia. It's a lot of white floral. And the base notes say musk and woody notes. Yeah, there is definitely like a fruity component to this candle, and there's definitely sort of a deeper kind of musk situation happening in the base. And like I said, that's what really separates it from that Bath and Body Works white gardenia, which is a very sharp, straightforward, like white floral. This candle has a lot more balance and nuance to it than that one does. It's really quite lovely. There's definitely a little bit of a soft, lush fruitiness on top. And then, it is kind of a vague white floral. Like they tell us there's gardenia, jasmine, lily, and freesia. And To be honest with you, I can't even swear that if I didn't know what this candle was called, I'm not even entirely certain that I would label the floral as gardenia. I would definitely say that this smells like a white floral, but it leans almost a little bit more lily to me than it does gardenia because of that sweetness. Really nice though. I'll be interested to see how this performs. It's been a hot minute since I have burned like one of these single wicks from Yankee Candle. But I mean, these big apothecary jars are just so nostalgic for me. Like, I think that I'm probably always going to buy them as long as they're available. I also picked up 2 Midsummer's Night candles. Midsummer's Night has been one of my favorite fragrances from Yankee Candle for as long as I can remember. I've probably burned Midsummer's Night about a dozen times throughout the years and have definitely noticed it kind of get a little bit tampered with and changed. It's been reformulated. It's a little bit weaker now than it used to be, but it is still a great fragrance that I love. And Midsummer's Night, this is probably the one Yankee Candle that I will buy every single summer until the end of days. I just love Midsummer's Night. And I jumped on buying this one because it's like the older signature 2-wick jar with the glass lid. Beautifully colored wax. So this format has been replaced by this format, and I just think that this format is so much nicer. You know, it's just sort of got like a label on the front without all the clip art wrapping around it. I really wish they could have just left well enough alone and kept their big 20-ounce 2 wicks like this. But hey, what can you do? And I also found this one on Amazon on sale for like $12 or $13. So I was like, why not? And yes, my plan is to burn both of these at the same time to just up the amount of strength and thrill that I'm getting from it. This will probably go on my coffee table. This will probably go on my dining room table. And we're just gonna have a great smelling summer. Anyways, on the scent story for Midsummer's Night, it says, this is a fresh and clean fragrance, intoxicating and alluring. Midsummer's Night may inspire a romantic evening of stargazing on a cool summer night. Woody notes mingle with sage and cedarwood scents to form an earthy, herbaceous cologne. And the top notes are citrus, herbaceous, woody, bergamot, and lime. The middle notes are lavender, pine, floral, sage. And the base notes are cedarwood, vetiver, juniper berries, clary sage, and moss. Good Lord, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 scent notes on Midsummer's Night. Let me simplify and break the fragrance down for you a little bit. This is a really nice, sweet, herbaceous fragrance. I wouldn't say that it's particularly cologne-y. I mean, I would wear it though. If they made this fragrance in a cologne, I probably would buy it. I like this fragrance so much. You definitely get sort of a zesty fruitiness in the top of this candle. It says bergamot, lime, citrus, herbaceous, woody. I'd say that we're predominantly talking like a citrusy bergamot note, and it is quite juicy on top, which I really enjoy. And then the middle of this candle, there's definitely lavender. I'd say that predominantly the scent that you're getting from this, like if I were to smell it without knowing what it is, I'd immediately know that it was Midsummer's Night, but it's that lavender and sort of pine note that I think stands out the most and really makes up the heart of this fragrance. There is an herbaceousness to it, a little bit of a woodsiness. And then in the base note, you get juniper berry, clary sage, and moss. That is what might put it into a little bit of a cologne-ish territory. There is a very sort of herbaceous, almost slight funkiness to it. And you do definitely pick up a little bit on that sage note, which I really appreciate. and just a touch of like almost a bit of a fermented vibe, you know? That might be what they're signaling with the juniper berry. Like sometimes juniper berry really comes across like a gin vibe, but I think there's also sort of almost like a wine component in this candle. And it's kind of like, it kind of comes from like that sort of fermented scent note that you get sometimes in candles like this. I really, really love Midsummer's Night, you guys. It's one of those candles that's a little bit hard to pinpoint and describe, but man, it's lovely. I think it's one of the more original fragrances that Yankee Candle has ever done. It's been around forever. I like to burn one every summer. This one smells, it smells like it's exactly the same fragrance, but the big one, this one smells lighter. It really does. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, this one, like you can definitely smell it. And like if I were to smell this blind, I would know this is Midsummer's Night from Yankee. But this one smells a fair bit stronger than the single wick does. Yeah, and I think that that's just the way Yankee Candle is rolling these days, right? Like you really can't expect too much out of those single wicks. But like I said, I'm gonna be burning these together so that I really get my full Midsummer's Night experience this summer. Yeah, I really, really enjoy this one. Midsummer's Night. Looking forward to it. And this will probably be the last time that I burn it in this nice, like, signature glass jar, which I enjoy so much more than these sort of straight tumblers. But hey, you know, with Yankee Candle at this point, it just is what it is. I'm glad that they're still around, and I think that Yankee Candle has kind of become a brand for me that I'm always gonna go back to their fragrances that I know and I love and I've tried a lot over the years. I gotta be honest, I'm not that interested in trying any of their new stuff. I'm just not, you know, for me the performance just isn't there. I'm not in a position where I'm able to smell a Yankee Candle before I purchase them. And so that definitely doesn't help either. With the Yankee Candle brand, I've kind of just been at this point for a while now where I'm just repurchasing fragrances that I already know and love. Anyways, that's all I've got for you folks today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you could hit me up with a like, comment on this video, subscribe to my channel, that would mean the world to me. Let me know in the comment section where you're at with Yankee Candle right now. Are you kind of like me and you're just kind of sticking to the fragrances that have been around for a long time that you know you love? Have you tried any of their newer stuff? What has your experience been like with the newer stuff? I'd be really interested to hear from you. And you can follow me on Instagram at allabootcandles and email your burning questions to allabootcandles@gmail.com. I will be back tomorrow with the weekly wax wrap up like I am every Sunday. And so until then, my dear, gorgeous, and beautiful candle-loving friends, let's burn some candles and bitch about it. Thanks, you guys. Bye now.